On the news, Senate probes Lagos gas explosion. Honor agreement with ASU, lawmakers warn federal government. We're glad to have you join us in News Now. I am Olashade Ogurinde. The National Assembly has begun a probe into Tuesday's explosion that rocked Ladipo community in the Mushin area of Lagos State, leaving 5 persons dead with 10 others injured and 12 vehicles and buildings destroyed. The Senate during plenary on Wednesday mandated its committees on petroleum downstream and gas to, as a matter of urgency, investigate the remote and immediate causes of the explosion and report back to the Senate with a view to avoiding future occurrences. The resolution was reached after Senator representing Lagos West, Olamilekan Adiola, raised a motion condemning the incident. The upper chamber also directed relevant government agencies to immediately send relief materials to affected victims and offset medical bills of hospitalized victims.
The explosion suspected to have been caused by fire close by the gas cylinder at the sales point, leading to the death and destruction of property, including 6 lock-up shops, 10 houses, vehicles, motorcycles in the vicinity of the blast at the sales of the LPG point. I hereby that the Senate do observe a minute silence in honor of the innocent Nigerians that lost their lives in the unfortunate national tragedy, and also that a condolence letter to the people and government of Lagos State on the deaths arising from the explosion, and NEMA and the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian and Disaster Management and Social Development to immediately send some relief material to the affected victims and offset medical bills of the hospitalized victims.
Direct NEMA and the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development to immediately send relief materials to affected victims and offset medical bills of the hospitalized victims. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 4, direct the Senate committees on petroleum downstream and gas to investigate the remote and immediate causes of the explosion and report back to the Senate with a view to avoid future occurrences. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
To avert the impending industrial strike action by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, the House of Representatives has urged the federal government to address the issues surrounding the intended strike action threatened by the academic union. To consolidate on the move, the Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, invited the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Education and the President of ASU for an interface. The invitation came on the heels of a disclosure that the Federal Ministry of Finance had condemned the availability of funds to implement the agreement, adding that the money was domiciled in the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN.
They said the money is there to pay earned allowances that is in the Central Bank. What is holding it between the federal government and the Central Bank, I do not know. So all I'm asking, dear colleagues, is let us beg the federal government to live up to expectation and implement an agreement is signed without duress. Simple. If they disrupt these universities again, the implications will be very far-reaching.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I have to plead with you to use your good office as you've been doing since 9th Assembly to call these people to order, to intervene for the fact that they have agreed and they came with this agreement. Those agreements should be simply followed to the letter.
I want the notice to go out today that the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Education and the representative of ASU will meet in my office on Thursday, meet me in my office on Thursday at 2 p.m. Finance, ASU and Minister of Education, so that we fast track this matter.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Labour and Productivity, Chris Ngige, said the Federal Ministry of Finance and National Planning will commence the disbursement of funds to universities on Wednesday, saying the strike threatened by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, would not take place. The association had issued a 3-week ultimatum to the federal government to implement the earlier agreements reached with the union. ASU National President Emmanuel Osadike explained that the industrial action became necessary due to the failure of the federal government to implement the memorandum of action it signed with the union, upon which the last strike action was suspended. Meanwhile, the minister, who spoke in a television interview in Lagos, explained that the fund is available and it will be dispersed in earnest. Tension gripping residents of Takum local government area of Taraba State on Wednesday when unidentified men suspected to be Amazonians from the Republic of Cameroon stormed the community, killing 11 persons, including a traditional ruler, brother of the slain traditional ruler and the senior special assistant to the Taraba State Governor, Joseph Manga, who confirmed the incident to newsmen, explained that the attackers first attacked the border community in Cameroon Republic before crossing over to Nigeria to unleash mayhem. Other residents of the community are said to still be missing, as they are suspected to have fled to other communities for safety. Meanwhile, the chairman of the local government area, Shiban Takari, disclosed that security operatives have since been deployed to the area to restore normalcy. But the senators queried the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, over its decision to spend most of its revenue it generates on salaries of staff and other expenditure. The Senate, through its Committee on Capital Markets, made the observation when the Director General of SEC, Lamido Yuguda, defended his agency's 2021 budget performance and the projections for 2022. Anita Patrick has more in this report.
As the nation grapples with revenue shortfalls, the Security and Exchange Commission, SEC, has been questioned for expending close to 90% of revenues made in the 2021 fiscal year on staff salaries and emoluments. While obviously displeased, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Capital Markets, Senator Ibikunle Amosun, questioned why an income-generating agency such as SEC would fail to remit the much-needed money to the federal accounts.
I realized that looking through this, your emolument alone was almost maybe 6 billion out of the 9 billion, and other expenses that were even continuing under staff welfare. So clearly, you are spending almost all of the revenue that comes to you.
In his defense, the Director General of SEC, Yuguda Lamido, denied being frivolous on the spending of revenues made. Lamido said his commission has put in place new measures of increasing revenue generation for the federal government in the coming year.
We took a lot of the suggestions that were given to us by the distinguished members, of those committees to heart, and we have actually proceeded to implement many new measures, which I believe will actually get the commission, out of the wood, we can start seeing this even from the beginning of 2022.
Other members of the committee, however, advised the DG to expand the commission's scope of revenue generation amidst what he called dwindling transactions on the floor of the stock market.
For you as a regulator, find a way. How are they doing in UAE? How are they doing in the US? How are they doing it? And people are making money from it, and they engage a lot of Nigerians out of the streets. First-class graduates of Nigeria, they're riding Okada.
Carry out various forms of research within our capital market, an economic-wide tract of research, okay, and you can sell this material in Nigeria, outside Nigeria.
The Securities and Exchange Commission disclosed that it's remitted a revenue of 1.5 billion naira into the federal government's accounts between June 2020 to June 2021. Anita Patrick, TV360, Abuja.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Mohammed Musa Bello, has thrown his weight behind the tax theme on city sanitation, saying that the ongoing demolition exercise in Abuja is to correct infractions of the state's master plan. Bello made it known on Wednesday in Abuja while fielding questions from newsmen on his stance on the ongoing demolition exercises in Nigeria's capital city of Abuja. The minister explained that before demolition any illegal structure, the government agencies would have given notice to the affected residents. Accordingly, he however added that the issue of compensations only comes to play when necessary.
During COVID-19, when most of the inspectorate staff have not been able to cover many parts of the cities, a lot of people went and started doing illegal construction. The policies and guidelines for building in the FCT are very clear, they are well documented, the laws are there. So what we have been doing basically is just to remove infringements. So the issue of compensation normally will not arise because everything is illegal. If, for instance, somebody decides to go and start building on a road corridor, which is common knowledge is a road corridor, and in most cases some of these buildings, you will notice that abatement notices have been given to them, but they still go ahead. So we keep on demolition. But there are some areas where, as part of our urban renewal and upgrade, if we need to take up a building, either to expand the road corridor or to create essential facilities for social services, obviously these ones will be compensated. It has always been happening.
We'll take a break here, but still to come, pro-democracy protests underway in Sudan. Details of the story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now here is a reminder of our top stories tonight. The National Assembly has begun the probe into Tuesday's explosion that rocked Ladipo community in the Mission area of Lagos State, leaving 5 persons dead with 10 others injured and 12 vehicles and buildings destroyed. The Senate during plenary on Wednesday mandated its committees on petroleum, downstream and gas to, as a matter of urgency, investigate the remote and immediate causes of the explosion and report back to the Senate with a view to avoiding future occurrences. We also told you that to avert the impending industrial strike action by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, the House of Representatives has urged the federal government to address the issues surrounding the intended strike action threatened by the academic union. To consolidate on the move, the Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, invited the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Education and the President of ASU for an interface. The invitation came on the heels of the disclosure that the Federal Ministry of Finance had confirmed the availability of funds to implement the agreement, adding that the money was domiciled in the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. But in case you missed any of our news bulletin, for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are at TV360 Online. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has confirmed 114 new COVID-19 cases across the country on Tuesday. According to an update from the agency, the new cases were reported in 13 states, as Imo State topped the chart with 38 infections, while Plateau and Lagos states recorded 20 and 17 cases respectively. The NCDC also said a total of 436 recoveries were made, while 5 persons succumbed to the infection. So far, 213,321 infections have been confirmed, out of which 206,206 patients have been discharged, while the country's fatality figure stands at 2,973. The Kwara State government has flagged off mass vaccination of residents of the state against the COVID-19 virus. While flagging off the exercise at a ceremony in Ilorin, the Deputy Governor, Kayode Alabi, urged residents of the state to get themselves vaccinated against the virus. It thereafter added that the state government would continue to do its best to ensure that COVID-19 care and other health services are made available and accessible for everyone. So far, the state has vaccinated over 15,000 individuals since the COVID-19 vaccination exercise began in March. Well, we'll take another break here and return with more stories and business. To stay with us.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians are saying in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it. Use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Well, up next is business news with Bisola Adebayo. Over to you, Bisola.
Thank you very much, Folashade. Welcome to Business News. The Senate and House of Representatives have resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to resolve the diplomatic row between Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates, UAE. The decision to wade into the dispute was reached in the Senate as a sequel to a point of order by the Senate Minority Leader, Eyinaya Abaribe, at plenary on Tuesday. According to him, a memorandum of understanding was signed between Nigeria and the UAE to provide a platform for bilateral engagement.
Aware that in February 2021, the federal government of Nigeria stopped the UAE national carrier, Emirates Airline, from subjecting Nigerian travelers to additional rapid antigen tests, as against its stipulated negative PCR tests at the Lagos and Abuja airport before departure. Further aware that the Emirates Airline then shut down flights to and from Nigeria, owing to the disagreement between the airline and the aviation authorities on the propriety of subjecting passengers traveling from Nigeria to emergency COVID-19 protocols.
Mandate the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, Presidential Task Force, PTF, on COVID-19 and National Security and Intelligence and Interior Immigration Service, respectively, to interface with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and National Intelligence Agency, NIA, on best ways of resolving this crisis and report back to the Senate within 2 weeks.
On their part, lawmakers at the Green Chamber stressed the need for reorientation of Nigerians living abroad, stressing that Nigerians are currently at the verge of being disengaged.
UAE is a country that believes if you go for armed robbery, you are supposed to go for go for your life. And I will tell you sincerely, sir, that the first time I was discussing with somebody from there, he told me the first robbery they recorded are from Nigerians here, traveling there, in the name for greener pasture. We are the ones who are undoing ourselves.
Why should citizens of this country have to go to Ghana, go to Togo, pretend they have spent 2 weeks before flying to United Arab Emirates? We also have our own airline, like Peace, which I know has been authorized to fly there. So whatever these issues are, let's get them resolved.
The Federal Executive Council has approved the sum of 26 billion naira for the rehabilitation of the Ida-Nsukka Road, an 84 kilometers road linking Kogi and Enugu states. This was made known by Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola while briefing newsmen on Wednesday after the virtual meeting of the council, which was presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari at the State House in Abuja. Fashola also revealed that the council approved the appointment of consultants to supervise the ongoing construction of the Bodo-Boni Highway in Rivers State.
Presented two memoranda to council. The first was to appoint the consultant to undertake the supervision consultancy for the construction of the Bodo-Boni Road and Bridge, which was previously awarded by council. The second memorandum was for the award of the contract for the rehabilitation of the Ida to Nsukka Road, an 84-kilometer road linking Kogi and Enugu states, which council approved for the sum of 26.172 billion naira in favor of a joint venture of Mrs. Sajeto Construction and RN Construction.
We take a break now and return with a review of the stock market. After rebounding thanks to the performance of Airtel Africa, which became a toast of investors due to new investment worth $125 million into its mobile money unit by minority shareholders yesterday, the Nigerian stock market is back in the negative today. The all-share index depreciated by 0.22% to close at 43,349 basis points. Market capitalization lose a whooping sum of 50 billion naira to close at 22.622 trillion naira at the close of trading. Well, there's uncertainties at the floor of the Nigerian exchange group right now, so investors are being skeptical of which stocks to invest in. Driving today's negative sentiment, J-Paul Gold and Neme topped our losers list with a combined 22 kobo loss. On the flip side, as our top gainers for today, ABC Transnational and Champs led the gainers counter with a tiny 4 kobo increase. Our market summary sees a total volume of 264 million units of shares valued at 6 billion naira, exchange hands in 4,230 deals. On the foreign scene, that's the FTSE, the Dow Jones and the Nikkei. They are all in the negative territory today. The FTSE underperformed after a hot UK inflation release pointed to an early Bank of England rate hike and rising COVID-19 cases eating travel and leisure stocks. US stocks as the Dow Jones also fell by the most in a month, and Treasury yields spiked higher as the hot inflation reading rolled financial markets. Japan stocks Nikkei is also in the negative, recording a 0.40% decline at the close of trading. That's all on Stock Market Review. Over to Folashade for the rest of the news.
Well, many thanks, Bisila, for that update. Now, on the foreign scene, protests against the recent military takeover in Sudan are getting underway as activists across Sudan have called for citizens to take to the street to mark a day when a civilian ought to take over the leadership of the governing Sovereign Council. The demonstrators took to the streets demanding a full handover to civilian rule in defiance of a deadly crackdown by security forces that has killed dozens of people since the military seized power last month. The army chief, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, was due to hand over the leadership of the Sovereign Council to a civilian, remain in charge with an intent on preventing the people of Sudan from choosing who should lead the country. The renewed protest came as U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken urged Africans to watch out for rising threats to democracy. Well, up next is Entertainment Reporter News Now.
After
Nigerian Instagram comedian Cute Abiola was declared missing by his colleague Mr. Macaroni. The Nigerian Navy has disclosed that Instagram comedian is in its custody for violating Armed Forces of Nigeria's social media policy. According to the Armed Forces Act 2017, personnel are not to post their pictures or those of their colleagues in military uniforms or pictures containing military structures, platforms and other military-related items. Cute Abiola, who is popularly known for his comedy skits on social media, is also a naval officer, entertainer and video producer. The Audrey Silva Company's 2021 film La Femme Angela is gearing up for a New York premiere ahead of its online release. Based on reports, the film will screen at the prestigious MCC Theatre in New York on November 24th, 2021. Starring Rita Dominic in an African Movie Academy Awards nominated role as Angela. The film, written by Tunde Babalola, follows the story of a young Lagos investment banker whose life is upended when he falls in love with the wife of a gangster. La Femme Angela also stars Nonso Basi, Ego Boyo, Femi Jacobs and Muibi Minor. Nigerian singer David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido, has received over 42 million naira in cash transfers in less than 1 hour after asking colleagues for 1 million naira. Fans and followers thought the multi-award-winning songwriter was joking when he posted a video on his Instagram story calling on those he had helped in the music industry to send him 1 million naira. To show that he was not just joking, the father of 3 posted his account number on his stories and posted screenshots of money sent into it. Entertainers such as Mr. Easy, Tenny the Entertainer, Chike, Adekule Gold, Peruzzi, Ikorodu Boys, amongst others, also credited the singer's accounts. And that is all that we have for you in the entertainment segment of News Now.
Away from entertainment and now to sports, the Super Eagles of Nigeria were held to a 1-1 draw against the Blue Sharks of Cape Verde to qualify for the African World Cup playoff. The game, held at the Teslim Balogun Stadium, Lagos, on Tuesday, had fans at the stadium reeling in celebration as the Super Eagles secured the spot in the 2022 FIFA World Cup playoff round, bringing the team one step closer to the 2022 Qatar World Cup. Our correspondent Mary Kanu tells us more in this report.
Coming from a 2-1 win over opponents Cape Verde at the first leg match held in Mindelo, the Super Eagles of Nigeria hosted the second leg of the game in Lagos State, where they were held to a 1-1 draw but finished top of the Group C with 13 points, needing just 1 point to qualify for the playoff round of qualification for Qatar 2022 World Cup. The Eagles, determined to secure a spot, scored in the first minute of the encounter through informed Napoli star Victor Osimhen. The excitement from fans was, however, short-lived as 4 minutes after a headed goal by Lenique dos Santos from the corner kick silenced the home crowd. With Ritoni Odion Igalo in the starting lineup, Lagos fans were expecting the former Manchester United player and crowd favourite Victor Osimhen to extend the lead, but Cape Verde keeper Vozinha made several saves in the first half to deny the host as the centre referee blew the whistle to signal the end of the game. Describing the team's display as unimpressive, fans at the stadium, as well as former Super Eagles player Julius Sagawa, said despite the array of professional players, the performance of the team was poor.
We weren't that impressed with the games, but the most important thing is that they've delivered the results. I'm also of that opinion because since he came into the team, we've not seen any proper improvements from the boys. We have a good number of players coming through the ranks, and we need to harvest their talents.
It's not a convincing performance because you would expect that the Super Eagles should be able to sign off this stage with a win. But you can see how we struggled. 1-1 is not it doesn't strike confidence into anybody.
We're all in shock that we're playing in Lagos, Nigeria, you know, and we're struggling against Cabo Verde. It shouldn't be happening in 2021.
Agreeing to the observations of fans and stakeholders, Coach Gernot Rohr called for improvements from his squad, saying a lot of work needed to be done on the team.
It was not an easy game because Cape Verde has a very good technical team
and they scored a goal in the moment when we believed that we had the match in the hand. The improvement I want to see is to exploit the opportunities we have to score, to be more effective offensively. That's what I want to see, and also to play quicker from behind.
The draw has enabled the Eagles join 9 other African teams to jostle for the 5 slots available for Africa at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, which will be decided in March 2022. Mary Kanu, TV360, Nigeria.
And that's it on our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Bye for now.